Hello all, welcome back to discussion on quantum mechanics. Now, earlier we have told that we'll be discussing on the transformation, like the similarity and unitary transformation in the next lecture. But anyhow, we need to introduce a different type of operator to you and its properties. After that, we'll move to the similarity and unitary transformation in the next class. Okay, a projection operator. Mathematically, the projection operator is defined as okay. So, an operator P is said to be projection operator if it satisfies two conditions. The first condition is it must be Hermitian. P dagger must be equal to P, and the square of it must be equal to the same operator. So if P dagger is equal to P and P square is P, then the operator P is said to be the projection operator. Okay, now what is the importance of projection operator in quantum mechanics or in the vector space? Okay, so that we can see it here. Okay, we can have an illustration. Okay, so consider ket 0 and ket 1 are orthonormal basis of a vector space. Okay. So if ket 0 and ket 1 are orthonormal basis of a vector space, then we can say that the inner product 0, 0 and inner product 1, 1 would be equal to 1. And the inner product between 0 and 1 would be 0. Okay, now I can write any vector in that vector space. Okay, suppose the vector psi can be written as some alpha times of vector 0 plus beta times of vector 1. Okay, so since ket 0 and ket 1 is the orthonormal basis, we can expand any other vector in terms of this ket 0 and ket 1. Okay, now I can define a projection operator, the projection operator of ket 0, such that the projection operator is defined to be the outer product 0, 0. Now we have to check whether it satisfies the condition of projection operator or not. So we can check the first condition. The first condition is it must be Hermitian. Okay, so we can find the dagger of this the projection operator. So this is an outer product 0, 0, and we have to take the dagger of this outer product. We'll get the same, isn't it? Because if you have the outer product psi phi, the psi phi all dagger would be equal to the outer product phi psi. The order would be changed, but here it is the same vectors. Okay, one is ket 0, other one is bra 0. If you interchange it, you will get same. So this would be equal to the projection onto 0. Okay, so this is this operator satisfies the first condition, this Hermitian. It satisfies the condition of hermiticity. And next we can find the square of this projection operator. So it is ket 0 bra 0 the whole square. So by definition, the square is the product of the same. Now we have one outer product, the second outer product. We have to take the product between them, and once you take the product between them, we'll get an inner product here. So this would be an inner product. So it can be written as ket 0, the bra 0, ket 0, and bra 0. Now what would be this one? This inner product, the inner product between the 0, 0, the bra 0 and ket 0, that would be 1 because they are normalized, and hence this would become the ket 0 bra 0, which is same as our original projection operator. Okay, so that means this operator P, which is defined this particular way, satisfies both the condition of the projection operator, and therefore this can be treated as a projection operator. Now, why it is called projection operator? Okay, so that we will see now. Okay, so we have already considered the vector psi, which is alpha times ket0 plus beta times ket1. Now, if you act the projection operator of 0 on vector psi, what would happen? We'll get the since this projection operator is linear, it become we can use the distributive property. So alpha times the projection operator acting on 0 plus beta times the projection operator acting on 1. Good. So this would be equal to alpha. What is projection operator? The ket0 bra 0 times ket0 plus beta, the projection operator, the ket0 bra 0 times the ket1. And here again the inner product comes. So here the inner product between the 0, 0 comes. Here the inner product between 0 and 1 comes. So since these basis vectors are orthonormal, it would be 0 and this would be equal to 1. So finally, what would be the result? So this would be equal to alpha times ket0. Okay, so this projection operator of 0 project the vector psi into vector 0 with the corresponding expansion coefficient. So okay, so here this alpha we can call it as expansion coefficient or the coefficient corresponding to the basis vector 0. Okay, so this projection operator project the vector psi into alpha times ket0. So that is why this operator is said to be projection. Okay, so once this operator, this P operator act on psi, it projects that vector onto that ket0 vector, and we get the corresponding the coefficient also. Then if you define another projection operator, okay, for the time being we can represent as P1. It is defined as the outer product 1, 1, and we can show that it satisfies both the properties of projection operator, and indeed it can be considered as projection operator. Now, what would be the result of this P1 acting on psi? So this operator project the vector psi onto the vector 1, and the result would be, we'll get beta times the vector 1. So I think this illustration gives some idea about what is meant by projection. Okay. So if you consider a simple example of 3-dimensional vector space or 2-dimensional vector space, we can, for the time being, 2-dimensional Euclidean vector space, that is our in the usual vector space. So in 2-dimensional Euclidean vector space, we'll have 2 axes, x, y. Correspondingly, we can define the unit vectors ij. And suppose if there is some vector a, and this vector a can have 2 components, an x component and as well as y component. So this vector a, I can write as axi plus ayj. Okay. Now in our notation, we can write as this vector a as axi plus ayj. Okay, where ij are 2 basis vectors. Okay, now if you define a projection operator I, which is equal to I times I, then the projection operator I acting on vector A will get I times axi plus ayj. Now the dot product between the I and I would be 1, and the scalar product between I and j would be 0. So finally, what do you get? You will get ax times vector I. So this projection operator I, or we can denote by symbol px, the projection operator x px project the vector A onto the x-axis. This project, okay, the action of px on A project that vector onto x-axis, and the result would be the axi. The projection operator x on vector A would give axi. We'll get only the x component vector, or it extract, or it gives the result of the x, the projection of that operator along the x-axis. And similarly, if the py acting on the operator A will get ayj, so that this operator will project the vector A onto the y-axis. So this example is used here to give the idea of projection. Okay, so this the two-dimensional vector space or three-dimensional vector space, there we can visualize what is meant by projection. So projection is basically we are finding the component of the vector along one particular direction, or okay, that is in the two-dimensional or three-dimensional vector space. But anyhow, that kind of meaning cannot be used in case of n-dimensional vector space, because we cannot visualize it more than 3 dimension. But anyhow, the same meaning is applicable there. Okay, so once you apply a projection operator, so that operator transforms the vector and project into that particular along that particular basis vector. Okay, so that is the definition of the projection operator and its meaning. Next, we have to discuss the properties of projection operators. So there are many properties, so we can list out one by one. So the first property, the product of two projection operator in general are not a projection operator. Product of two projection operator are not okay, projection operators is not a projection operator in general. Okay, but we can have its special case. The special case is the product of two commuting projection operators is a projection operator. Okay, so suppose if you have two projection operator P1 and P2, and if the P1 P2 commutes, that is the commutator P1 P2 is 0, then the product of P1 times P2 is also a projection operator. So is it possible to prove that? Yes. The thing is, we have to show two things. The first condition, it must be Hermitian. Okay, so the P1 P2, the all dagger must be equal to P1 P2. So P1 P2, the all dagger is equal to P2 dagger P1 dagger. Now P2 is a projection operator, P1 is also a projection operator. So therefore P2 dagger can be written as P2 P1 dagger can be written as P1. Now, since it is commuting, the P2 times P1 can also be written as P1 times P2. So that means P1, P2, the all dagger equal to P1, P2. So which says that the product of P1, P2 is Hermitian. So it satisfies the first condition of projection operator. Okay, so this happens only because they are commuting. If they are not commuting, then the P2, P1 is not equal to P1, P2. Okay. So in general means if P1, P2 is non-zero, P1, P2 non-zero means P1, P2 minus P2, P1 is non-zero. So, okay. So in general, the product of P1 and P2 will not be Hermitian. Even the P1, P2 are projection operators. Their product cannot be a Hermitian operator if they are not commuting. So if they commutes, okay, then there is no issue. Then the product of P1, P2 would be Hermitian. Now the second thing is we have to check the square of P1, P2. The P1, P2 square is simply P1, P2 times P1, P2. Now this can be written as P1, P2, P1, P2. Now P2 times P1, since it commutes, you can change its order. So we can write P1, P1, P2, P2. So this would be P1 square. This would be P2 square. Now P1 square, since P1 is a projection operator, P1 square would be equal to P1, and P2 is a projection operator. P2 square is also equal to P2. So that means P1, P2 the all square equal to P1, P2. Okay. So it satisfies both the condition of the projection operator, and hence P1, P2 can be a projection operator. Okay. So the product of two projection operator would be a projection operator only if they are commuting. So next we can check the second property of the projection operator. Okay. It is sum of two projection operators is not a projection operator in general. So if we have two projection operators, P1 and P2 are projection operators, then P1 plus P2 need not be a projection operator. A third property. So if the product of two projection operator is 0, then they are said to be orthogonal. Orthogonal. Okay. So if we have two projection operator P1 and P2, if P1 times P2 equal to 0, and then they are orthogonal. Okay, so the simple example is as we discussed earlier. So we have introduced a projection operator corresponding to get 0 as 0, 0, and projection operator corresponding to 1 as 1, 1. Now, what would be the product between them? The projection operator get 0 times the get 1. It would be 0, 0, 1, 1. So this would be there would be an end product get 0, get 1. That would be 0. So this would be 0. Okay, then I can say that this P0 and P1 are orthogonal, the orthogonal projection operators. Now the last property. So if two projection operators are orthogonal, then sum of them would be a projection operator. So if you have two orthogonal projection operator, like we have said earlier, is P0 and P1 are orthogonal, then its sum would be another projection operator. Then P0 plus P1 would be a projection operator. Okay, so these are the four properties of the projection operator. So we can just revise what we have discussed today. So a projection operator, an operator is said to be a projection operator if it satisfies two conditions. One is it is Hermitian, and second is the square of the projection operator must be equal to that operator itself. Now remember, an operator is a mathematical quantity which transfers one vector into another vector. So in order to illustrate the meaning of the projection operator, we have considered a two-dimensional vector space in which the bases are represented as Ket0 and Ket1, and they are orthonormal bases. And we defined a projection operator as outer product Ket0 bra0, and we have shown that that outer product satisfies both the condition of projection operator, and hence that can be considered as a projection operator. Now, in order to check the meaning of the projection operator, what I have done is we have acted that projection operator on vector psi, and the result is that vector psi would collapse onto the vector which is along the Ket0. Okay, so this projection operator transforms the vector psi, and that it projects the vector psi onto the basis vector Ket0, and we are getting the corresponding the coefficient alpha. The same thing we are getting here. Okay, so actually the vector psi is sum of alpha Ket0 plus beta Ket1. So if the projection operator of Ket0 is acting there, that vector psi project onto this alpha Ket0. Now, similarly, if the projection operator corresponding to the Ket1 acting on psi would give the beta times Ket1. So it that particular operator projects that vector onto that basis vector along the direction of the basis vector. So in order to get the more clear example or more clear picture for the visualization, we have considered a two-dimensional Euclidean vector space. So that is the normal vector space. And we have shown that the projection along the x-axis projected vector on x-axis. So the projection operator on x-axis acting on A gives AXI. And similarly, the projection operator of Y acting on A gives AYJ. So this is the meaning of projection operator, and this can be extended to n-dimensional vector space. And thereafter, we have discussed the four properties of projection operator. So that's all about the projection operators. So next, we'll be discussing the similarity transformation, and as well as first we'll discuss similar transformation, then we'll move towards the unitary transformation. Okay, so thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next class.